Good evening, everyone. Time for another silver update. Now, this is the weekly chart of silver provided by netdania.com. This is the big view, this is the long view, and this was the price we were looking for, $15. And I actually didn't think they were going to get to it when we got the breakout from this. You see this major trend line here all the way back to the May smackdown top, and that held for a very long time. You can see it wasn't until just about in the summer it broke out of that, but you can see now that it actually is a touch point now for it correcting back from above it. So that's fascinating that they were able to push it down so hard and so fast. You can see how fast the run from 2150 down to 15 happened so fast it actually caught back up with that line. That's very interesting. Next thing is the very, very long-term trend line of this original silver bull market. And you can see, based on that, a correction back to $13 an ounce would actually be a complete touchback to this line. And you can see how far silver ran away from that line from the bottom in 2008 at about 835. So what does this portend? Well, it seems to me pretty much that most of the selling is over with. Yes, the paper price of silver can go to zero. The paper price of anything can go to zero or infinity because it's a paper price. It's a computer entry in someone's computer. That's what they're trading back and forth. Now, let me show you that because the volume is very interesting. We actually had the sell-off start around just after midnight, which is kind of interesting. Let's get the lines off of here. But you can see this is when it started. We'll go into the 1 minute and then we'll pull in the volume. So that's kind of gone off the screen now. We're going to have to do it by the 5 minute. So you can see there coming in just after midnight Eastern time, a huge sell-off, a drop from 1585 all the way down to 15. But the big thing is going to be the daily volume. Now, I pointed out to you before that we were coming up on some very, very high volume and that I was expecting very high volume because that's what usually marks bottoms, especially spike bottoms. But if you look here, you can see that the volume that came in today is second only to the April smackdown, where they took it down through that 26 price. And you can see that 26 price had held for a very long time. They took it down through that on 20 million contracts. We came very close. We're at about 19 million contracts. So that was how much volume it took to move silver down that far. Now, the reaction, of course, has been crazy. I was actually going to put a poll on the member site taking predictions of when the U.S. Mint would suspend Silver Eagle sales, but I didn't need to do that because it actually happened today. This is from Silver Doctors. Breaking alert, U.S. Mint sold out of Silver Eagles. 2 million coin surplus sold in under 2 hours. Now, we know that lower prices bring in buyers. That's supply and demand. But the question is, what was the impetus of the selling that happened last night that ended up bringing in 2 million buyers within the space of 2 hours? And of course, I think we know the answer to that. The answer to that is that it was fake selling. It was based on possibly the election or something that we're not aware of at this time. But that selling resulted in the Mint suspending the Silver Eagle. So let's read some of this. U.S. Mint has just issued an alert to primary dealers across the U.S. Now, a lot of people have said, well, I can't see that on the Mint's website. Well, you're not going to find it on the Mint's website, because what the Mint does is they sell to primary dealers. I don't think Silver Doctors is a primary dealer, but he may get from one. I think someone had reported that it was A-Mark, but I don't know if it was A-Mark that issued this. But the primary dealers are going to be the ones who are told. Now, someone like Silver Doctors is obviously going to find out, because when he sees tremendous demand for this year's Silver Eagles, he's going to go out and see if he can source them. And you'll see here down below, they apparently pulled all their prices, which according to the Mint began over 2 million ounces, now sold out as of 12:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. The Mint has reportedly sold through over 2 million ounces in less than 2 hours. It appears that the 1550 level was the line that broke the camel's back regarding physical inventories, as physical demand has simply exploded on this morning's futures dip below 1520. SD Bullion took delivery of 10 monster boxes of Silver Eagles from the U.S. Mint this morning and currently have 20 monster boxes left in inventory. When they're gone, they're gone. 1:45 p.m. update. At approximately 1 p.m. Eastern Time, one of the largest primary dealers in the U.S. issued a notice to all purchasers that premiums for any previously placed purchases for Silver Eagles are no longer valid. This is simply unprecedented. So that's the news from Silver Doctors, and it's not surprising. It is surprising to me that it actually happened today. What I was expecting was that if this price stayed down here for any length of time, that what would happen is that the Mint would come out and do their annual suspension. It seems to, every year they suspend the Silver Eagle sales. It seems to be a little bit later and later each year that they resume, and a little bit earlier and earlier each year that they stop. Why that would take so long to change over one date is utterly absurd. Of course, we know it's absurd. But that's the Mint. And so it's quite possible that this suspension now may just last all the way through till mid-January. That wouldn't surprise me at all. And if that's the case, then we're going to be looking at over 2 months where the Mint doesn't sell any Eagles. And that's very interesting. So this commodity that apparently no one wants, it appears that no one wants it, because if you look at the price, they're just selling it hand over fist. But there seems to be a shortage. Very strange to have a shortage in something that is falling in price. Something wrong with that. Now, let's look at the article on Zero Hedge. Global scramble for silver coins. Hard to get. Premiums likely to jump. Now, I didn't have my channel. I wasn't making silver videos back in the fall of 2008 when we got that smackdown. But I was buying silver, and I can tell you that I remember specifically that I had a very difficult time finding any Silver Eagles. In fact, I didn't buy any Silver Eagles that fall. I ended up buying other things from the Royal Canadian Mint and from the Perth Mint. And that's because I never saw Eagles below $15 a coin. So even though the price of silver was down around 8 at one point, 8 something, 8.35 I think it was, I never saw Silver Eagles for cheaper than $15. And that's what happens. Premiums start to jump. So let's read some of this. This is from Goldcore. Global scramble for silver coins, hard to get, premiums likely to jump. Silver has had a torrid time in recent months and has fallen nearly 40% since July. In less than 4 months, it is down from $21.40 an ounce to $15.45 an ounce today. Silver 70% lower since reaching over $49 an ounce in April of 2011. The selling has accelerated in recent days, and silver has fallen from $17.20 an ounce on October 28th and is down 12% in the last week. There is blood in the streets of the silver market, with the future speculators long silver again having their heads handed to them on a plate and incurring sharp losses. Now, I don't really know if I believe that. I don't really know if there are any future speculators who are long silver. It very well could be the case that it's just the banks on both sides of the trade. And why would it matter? Because they can print an unlimited amount of money coming from the Fed. So it really doesn't matter, these paper losses. The whole point of it is to suppress the price of silver and keep people from trying to diversify their savings into something that has value like silver or gold. That's the point of the manipulation, not whether or not they lose paper money that they can print at will on a trade. So I'm not convinced that the future speculators on the long side are even real speculators. They're probably just the banks. However, the silver sell-off has again seen a global scramble for physical silver. In recent days, there has been a global scramble to acquire silver bullion coins and bars after the price falls, according to Reuters. Maple Leaf silver coins are difficult to acquire, according to bullion dealers, with the Royal Canadian Mint on allocation from September.